Remember the countdown page we built last time? Today we're going to keep adding to it. But as your project grows, you'll notice Claude getting slower, forgetting stuff you told it earlier, and costing you more each time you talk to it. And all three have the same cause. Everything you say and do in a session stacks up, and none of it goes away. It keeps growing the whole time. Once you can see it, a few habits will keep it under control. Let me show you what's been stacking up while you weren't looking. Now picture us going further with this page, making it look great on phones, saving people's settings so they don't disappear, adding a way to share the countdown link, plus everything else you'd think of along the way. A couple of days of building like that, the kind of project that used to take weeks, and the bucket fills up fast. Every one of those requests sets Claude off doing real work behind the scenes. It opens whatever files it needs and writes new code. Then it runs a few commands to check the work, and all of that stays in the session with you. Your messages, the files Claude reads, the output from every command, all of it sitting there together. Picture a bucket holding everything from your session. Right now, it's filling up as we work. But a bucket only holds so much, and once it starts getting full, that's when Claude starts losing the plot. The bucket has a fixed size, and Claude starts running into trouble well before it's full. You'll catch it forgetting things you told it earlier, or missing small mistakes it would normally pick up. There's no exact cutoff. From the research and just using it day to day, it usually starts somewhere past the 2/3 mark, but it's gradual. You don't hit a wall, Claude just gets a bit foggy. Cost works differently than it used to. The longer a session ran, the more each new message cost, because every message reread the whole bucket at full price. As of mid-2026, Claude reuses the parts that haven't changed, so carrying all that history got a lot cheaper. What you really pay for now is the new work you add each time. Cheaper isn't free, though. A fuller bucket still costs a bit more to carry every message. And the new stuff you add each time is both the part you pay full price for and the part that's slowest to process. So both of these, the fog and the cost, come back to how full the bucket is. The fuller it gets, the foggier Claude is, and the more it costs to carry. Every habit here is just a different way of managing that one bucket. There are 4 of them. The most obvious place to start is the first one. What fills it the fastest? Reading files fills the bucket faster than anything else. Every file Claude opens goes in whole, and how many it opens comes down to how you ask. Tell it, "Improve my project," and you've given it nothing to aim at. It scans around, opening one file after another to figure out what you meant. Now tell it, "Make the countdown digits bigger," that's in index.html, and it goes straight to the one file. You get the same change either way, but the specific version puts a lot less into the bucket, so Claude stays sharper and you pay less. And it only gets more important as the project grows. Once your page is spread across a bunch of files, a vague request makes Claude read every single one of them, every time. Being specific keeps the bucket from filling too fast. The other move is to empty it back out, and there's a command for exactly that, /clear. Use it when you finish one task and you're moving on to something different. The work you just wrapped up is still sitting in the bucket, weighing down every new message for no reason. Type /clear and it empties out. Claude starts the next job fresh instead of dragging the old one along. There's a second moment to use it, and I learned this one the hard way. The alarm sound took me a few tries. I corrected Claude once, corrected it again, and it still wasn't getting it right. The problem was that every one of those failed attempts was sitting in the bucket. Claude kept reading them back and going down the same wrong path. You're better off clearing the whole thing out and starting over with one better prompt that includes what you figured out. Clearing does have one catch. It wipes everything completely. And sometimes you'd rather keep what you've worked out so far. Sometimes you're partway through a task and the bucket is filling up, but you still need everything you've figured out so far. Clearing it now would throw away decisions you aren't done with. That's where /compact comes in. Instead of emptying the bucket, it boils the long back and forth down into a short summary of what you decided and where things stand. The bucket shrinks, and you keep going on the same task. It's not perfect, though. A summary isn't the full conversation, so some of the detail gets dropped, usually the older stuff. You can tell it what to hold on to, like compact, but keep the timer logic we worked out. But whenever you can, it's cleaner to just finish the task and start fresh with /clear. Compact is really for when you're mid-task and can't start over yet. Claude will also compact on its own when a session gets close to full, so you won't just hit a wall mid-conversation. Everything so far has been about managing the bucket while you work. But the bucket doesn't actually start empty. Your bucket fills from two places. There's everything you do during a session, the files, the commands, the back and forth. And there's whatever's already loaded before you even type. That second part is CLAUDE.md, the file we had Claude write last time. It's one of the most useful things you can set up. Every new session starts already knowing your project, so you're not re-explaining the basics each time. Because it loads in before anything else, it's the starting level of your bucket every session. A good one is well worth that space. You just don't want to pad it out. A quick test for each line. Would taking it out cause Claude to get something wrong? If not, cut it. Then there's the stuff that's useful but only now and then, like how the page gets published, or how the timer logic works. That doesn't need to sit in Claude.md either. Give each one its own file and pull it in only on the days you need it, by telling Claude something like, read timer-notes.md before we start. Those are the 4 habits. Now let's put them together. All 4 habits come down to the same thing, keeping the bucket under control. Point Claude at the exact file so less goes in, clear it between tasks and after you've corrected the same thing twice, compact when you're mid-task and can't start fresh, and keep Claude.md lean so the start stays light. When you're starting out, don't worry about any of this yet. Spend your first few days just building things and seeing what Claude can do. You'll learn far more about what it's good for that way than by trying to save a bit of money this early. At the size of this countdown page, using every habit or none of them barely changes anything. Whatever you ask for still gets built either way. The one I'd still use early is /clear, because starting a new task with an empty bucket costs nothing and saves you the most common kind of confusion. The rest you can pick up the day a session starts feeling slow or forgetful, which really happens once a project is spread across a dozen files.